Arkansas's breaking news leader, Fox 16 News at 9 starts now.
Tonight we start in the capital city as an afternoon shooting leaves a teenager in critical condition. Thanks for joining us at Fox 16 News at 9. I'm Troy Lynch. The shooting happened on the east side of the Park Plaza Mall parking lot off of Markham Street. The identity of the 18-year-old victim has not yet been released, and there is no confirmed suspect information at this time. This is an ongoing investigation, and of course, we're going to keep you updated as the story develops. And the Park Plaza shooting is the latest shooting in a wave to hit Little Rock this year. Our Andrew Epperson is live in the studio with us right now. And Andrew, community leaders, they say that they want to find ways to curb the violent crimes here, but what do they specifically want to do?
Well, it's pretty simple at this point, Troy.
Well, and then beyond that, it gets cooler. We'll talk about how cool it will get here in a few moments.
Awesome, Joel, thanks so much. A Hazen woman is dead after being struck on Interstate 40. 52-year-old Brenda Palza died from the collision, and it happened on Interstate 40 East near mile marker 172 around 4:30 Friday morning. According to the preliminary report from Arkansas State Police, Palza was hit by a semi while walking in the traffic lane. The investigation into what led to her death is still ongoing. And looking ahead, southbound traffic on the Interstate 430 bridge will be closed this weekend between Maumelle Boulevard and Cantrell Road at designated times. Single lane closure will be from 8 to noon on Sunday, and Monday through Friday there will be a nightly double lane closure from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Auto enthusiasts gathered for a trip from Little Rock to Lone Oak to spread awareness about the latest options in electric vehicles. This morning, a caravan of about a dozen electric vehicles left from Evolve Auto in North Little Rock. In Governor Hutchinson's State of the State, he mentioned that he wanted to see Arkansas become a leader in next-gen vehicles, and that includes EVs.
Drive Electric Week, encouraging people who are curious about electric vehicles to come out and learn more about them and see how cool they are.
Currently, around 2,000 of the 2.8 million vehicles on Arkansas roads are fully electric. Last April, Lone Oak became the first community in the state to offer electric vehicle charges. And a pair of Arkansas mayors proclaimed April as a Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. According to the Children's Safety Center of Washington County, there were almost 700 alleged cases of child abuse in the county in 2021, and most of them were sexual abuse allegations.
When we have a really big month, or when we tell people how many kids we've served in Washington County in 1 year, so typically we see over 800 kids a year just from this county alone, and people are like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of kids and that's so sad. But to us, I really think when our numbers are higher, that's a good thing. I don't think it's because abuse is happening more. I think it's because kids are feeling safe to tell.
Pinwheels have become a national symbol for child abuse prevention. One pinwheel is put down for every child who has been abused in the county in the last year. Today, the first ever Go Baby Go event took place at the University of Central Arkansas in partnership with Arkansas Children's Hospital. As part of the program, teams adapted miniature Jeeps, customizing them for individual children. Through the program, students from a wide variety of disciplines, they got to experience working with one another while keeping the needs of the patients in mind.
Everybody brought a new perspective. And it worked, and it came together, and it was great. And I think it really showed what it's like in the real world, whether you're in a hospital or clinic, wherever you are. That's how it is.
Teams included occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech pathology, and medical students, as well as electricians, engineers, assistive technology professionals, and clinicians from around the state. And 300 years ago this week, a French explorer named Jean-Baptiste Bernard de la Harpe took note of a La Petite Roche, or a little rock, sticking out into the Arkansas River in what is now the River Market. All these years later, volunteers are beautifying the area to mark the big anniversary. And the south end of the pedestrian bridge covers the part of the original outcropping, which gives the city its name. The Serve Day event was organized by the City Church Network.
This really helps to kind of kick off what we're doing here with Parks and Rec and some others throughout the city, that's kind of kicking off some volunteer opportunities for everybody to kind of be able to serve. And so service is part of the community and probably is one of the greatest things that we can have.
So cool. More activities are planned this weekend throughout the year at the Little Rock site and the River Market, and the official anniversary is April 9th, which falls on next Saturday. Ukrainian troops are reporting progress in taking back areas previously controlled by Russian troops. But hundreds of Ukrainians are still flooding into neighboring countries. More details on the war, that's coming up here on Fox 16.
Going into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I like the sunshine, but Troy, those temperatures a little bit cool for me. Low 60s, upper 50s. What do you think?
I'm from Southern California.
I think you can handle it.
So anything above 60 is where I like it. That's the sweet spot for me. I love it.
Exactly. All right, and it's our first time to work together.
It is.
3 weeks on the job, and I haven't really. We've barely crossed paths.
Been all over the place. Was in San Francisco last week covering the NCAA tournament and the Razorbacks, but they lost, so they're not playing tonight.
Exactly, and you learned what rice-a-roni is.
I finally learned what rice-a-roni. I've had rice-a-roni, but the name didn't ring any bells. But I went home that night. Bought some
Did your homework?
I did. Yeah.
All right, good
so
deal.
we're all caught up on rice-a-roni. Joel,
Sounds
thanks
good.
so much.
All right.
All right, we're still continuing with the weather talks right now. New data shows the U.S. is experiencing more tornadoes earlier in the calendar year. Forecasters are worried that this trend will prove hazardous, with millions more Americans impacted by storms that they normally wouldn't come in contact with. Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty has more.
The National Fox News.
Marianne, thanks so much. As cleanup efforts continue, Senator John Boozman is planning to visit the site of Wednesday's tornadoes here in Northwest Arkansas. Boozman announced during a public appearance today that he will be in Springdale next Saturday to meet with first responders, citizens, and community leaders. He wants to make sure the community is receiving everything it needs from FEMA and other federal agencies to clean up the aftermath caused by all the tornadoes.
We can't prevent situations like a tornado from happening, but there's no excuse for not stepping in and doing all we can to help those that have been affected, the businesses and the individuals.
Senator Boozman also said today that his office will coordinate with Senator Tom Cotton and Representative Steve Womack's offices to help provide assistance for the region. A medical miracle remembered. The story of a man who woke up from a 19-year coma and how his family continues to honor him after his recent passing. That is coming up.
You're watching Fox 16 News at 9. Covering Sherwood, Maumelle, Little Rock, and all of Central Arkansas.
Been over a month and a half since Russia invaded Ukraine, and there's no indication the conflict will end anytime soon. Ukraine's military says the country's armed forces retook control of more than 29 settlements in the region. Russian troops have been seen withdrawing from areas around Kyiv. Meanwhile, refugees are still flooding Poland by the hundreds.
Ukrainian refugees are still welcome to Poland. We realize that this is what we owe to them, because they are fighting not only for their freedom and their independence, but also for ours. They are defending our values, which are so dear to us in Europe.
So far, thousands of Ukrainians have been killed in Russia's invasion, and more than 4 million have been forced from their country. Ukraine is facing a shortage of defensive and tactical supplies, and now scrambling to scrape together gear to sustain its defense against the Kremlin army. One Ukrainian family here in the U.S. is doing their part to supply troops with equipment through charity. Fox News correspondent Nate Foy spoke with family members about the work they're doing to support those on the front lines.
Fox News.
New at 9, the man who slept for 19 years has died, nearly 20 years after the miracle awakening. Terry Wallace was in a coma for 19 years after he was in a car wreck in 1984, waking up from that coma in 2003. During the time he was in a coma and after he woke up, his family made sure he was included in all family activities. And it was that love and interaction that doctors said likely led to Terry's miracle.
Would bring him home and we would take him to the creek fishing, hunting. You know, he might not be participating, but he was sitting there watching.
Terry's funeral was held Friday at the Round Mountain Community Church in Stone County. An historic vote leading to mixed reactions. Coming up, we're going to hear from the workers at Central for the nation's first Amazon union.
We're watching Fox 16 News at 9. Covering Hot Springs, Bryant, Little Rock, and all of Central Arkansas.
A Finnish member of parliament and Lutheran bishop have been acquitted of all their charges in their religious freedom case. It was a case that many say put free speech and the Bible on trial. Fox News correspondent Lauren Green has more.
Fox News.
Lauren, thanks so much. COVID infections in the United Kingdom have reached record levels. According to officials, around 1 in 13 people have been infected with COVID-19 in the last week. That's the highest number since they started tracking the statistic back in April of 2020. The surge is largely being driven by the Omicron subvariant known as BA2. And as number of COVID cases drop here in the U.S., cases of norovirus are growing to levels not seen since before the pandemic. Norovirus is the bug responsible for the stomach flu, and the CDC says since early January, the number of weekly outbreaks has gone from fewer than 10 per week to more than 50 per week. They believe the lifting of COVID restrictions along with larger gatherings has allowed the norovirus to spread more effectively. And we're 1 month away from student loan repayments starting back up. Reporter Anna Darling has tips on how you can stay on top of those payments.
May 1st is don't procrastinate.
Some good tips right there. The House Oversight Committee is launching an investigation into Amazon's labor practices. A letter was sent to Amazon's president and CEO requesting documents on the company's labor policies and procedures, particularly during severe weather events. The probe comes after tornadoes killed 6 workers last year in an Amazon distribution center in Edwardsville, Illinois. In a statement, Amazon spokesperson Kelly Nantel said the company will respond to this letter in due course. And Amazon workers in Staten Island, New York, voted to unionize on Friday. More than 2,600 workers voted in favor of a union, and some 2,100 voted against. With 55% in favor, the fulfillment center, known as JFK 8, became the first in the nation to successfully organize. Many inside the warehouse were happy with the news, while others worry the union vote won't really change anything for them.
People stopped working. Everybody was high-fiving. Watching the countdown, it was pretty insane. Everybody's excited for new changes, so we'll see what happens when I'm here.
In a statement, Amazon said it was disappointed by the election and are now evaluating how to proceed.
And as we go into the night tonight, we're staying clear and those temperatures are falling to a chilly 44 degrees tonight. But what is your Sunday looking like? We'll have a look at your outdoor forecast if you're planning to go out and maybe play some pickleball on your Sunday. We'll be right back.
Get all of Central Arkansas.
They say love is a 4-legged word, and not the best joke, but having a pet can bring out some good times during the tough times. A school in Brooklyn is using that bond to teach students about empathy, teamwork, and other life lessons. Adam Cooperstein gives us a look at the Muddy Grease curriculum. Oh, that's awesome. All right, this story is proof that age is just a number. A 64-year-old woman in Illinois is getting ready to compete in a figure skating championship against women a third of her age. Fox's Dane Placco has more on how she's inspiring others to stay active.
Here comes Secret Oath on the outside. She's still 2 legs behind. Cyberknife, Secret Oath is not going to get by. The Arkansas Derby winner, and his name is Cyberknife.
Oh, man, a great call by Vic Stauffer right there. So good to have a packed Arkansas Derby again, and what a race we had today. Cyberknife came away with the overall win and getting the $1.25 million purse and 100 points towards the Kentucky Derby. Cyberknife came into the Derby with 8-to-1 odds to win, and Barbara Road placed second, and the favorite was the only filly in this race, Secret Oath, and she placed third. And Nick, I'm still not over it because I put some money on Secret Oath. I thought she was going to win. I know it's tough.
Ouch. Well, I'll tell you what, Troy.
Guys, I'm still not over the Arkansas Derby. I thought Secret Oath was going to win it. Who knew Cyberknife?
Were you following? Who knew?
I was following it.
Right?
You really didn't.
I love the play-by-play announcers, though.
Oh, yeah.
For any horse racing event, they deserve a raise.
Vic Stauffer was fantastic.
No
Cyberknife, that last call was fantastic. Oh, good stuff. Great weather, too.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for tuning in tonight. We'll see you tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Cyberknife.